All right, we're ready to go with Legend of Zelda 2, Adventure of Link with John Wayne. John, how you doing today? Cool. Perfect.
Test.
Yeah, that's much better. We can actually hear you now.
All right.
Perfect. So, how are you doing today? How do you feel?
Pretty good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How do you feel about your run?
Just hoping I don't have a game over or something like that, you know?
All right. Well, it's Zelda 2. It's a brutal speed run. So,
Yeah.
but I have faith.
It's the
I have
Dark
faith
Souls.
in you, and it's always a treat to watch Zelda 2. And the final temple is just, like, to me, it's nerve-wracking just to watch. I can't imagine what it is when you're actually running the thing. But without further ado, it's all yours. So take it away. We'll be ready to start the timer on your mark.
All right. All right, so I just want to give a quick shout-out to Lil Z, a group of friends that run Zelda 2 and all the Zelda's games and everything. I got Lauren07 on the couch with me. So she will be assisting me, and she'll be running Ocarina of Time next. So without further ado, here's Zelda 2, the Dark Souls of the Zelda series. It's the only one that has experience points, so you'll see a little bit of stuff going on. I'll explain that as I go. So, all right, on my mark, timer starts on control. So it'll be about 2 seconds after I press start here. So here we go. And start. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is go down here to the Magic Container Cave down here. I'm going to try and do the cave in a certain way that I'm going to hopefully get a P-bag drop off the 6 count. The P-bag will be 50 experience points, which will hopefully set me up to get attack 4 out of Palace 1. And we got it. So that's actually frame perfect trick. Well, it's near frame perfect. But, lots of times when you're doing speedruns and everything like that, it's lots of resets and everything like that right at the very beginning because of it. And we're going to the first town to get the first spell in the game. There's a series of spells that you'll be able to get in this game. And there's a little bit of quests that you will get certain items and talk to the old men of the town to get the special spell. And then why I always joke around, it's like anytime you get the P-bag in the Magic Cave, you're on world record pace. So, but that most likely won't happen during this run. All right, so we just got the shield spell. Then we're going to Parappa Desert. This game has a decent amount of RNG in it, in the overworld. You'll see most of the levels and towns and everything like that in this view, and this is the overworld. So you'll be seeing lots of different spots where I might pause, or usually you just go up left or up right, and it's to manipulate the overworld encounters so you don't get the encounters. Each encounter will usually add about 10 to 12 seconds.
Well, I guess it's a good thing we got the blessings of RNGesus himself a couple of runs back.
All right, now what I'm trying to do is get bubble skip, and I got it. So there's a forced encounter tile there, which you'll see on the way back. And there's a series of bubbles which can knock you into the water and instantly kill you, make you lose a life. So we hope that doesn't happen. Is a couple of boomerangs right there. And just like any Zelda game, you have a series of heart containers that you want to collect. All right, so this is the bubble room. The bubbles will always knock you. Okay, so that one, if I jumped there, would have been knocked into the water and instantly lost a life. There's lots of little spots in this game where you just basically instantly lose a life, especially early on. And I dodged that encounter, so far so good. And this is the first palace of the game. Zelda 2, of course, has some awesome music. And then you'll see the true bosses of the game, the bots, coming up. These bots are in places where they're true RNG elements of the game that will just, they're placed in different places in Palace 2 and 3 especially, that will just knock you straight into lava, again, make you lose a life and everything. Zelda 2 is a very brutal game, lots of ways to easily die. And of course, they're wanting to jump down, block my way. Alright, so Palace 1, we'll actually take no life level ups and start doing a little bit of basically manipulating the XP levels, which I'll explain later, but we will be taking only attack levels. I'm going to skip these Stalfos here and jump over them. What I'm doing is actually manipulating a 6-count drop. Every 6 enemy drops either on the large groups a red jar or a 200p bag. So the 200p bag is what we want at least one of. It's a 50-50 chance. There are many runs that will get 2 red jars, which we don't want. So this is the 100% all keys category. So we will be collecting all the keys. There is other runs of this game where you get the fairy spell and you can actually ferry through key doors. And that's a part of the game mechanics and everything like that. Let's play this a little bit safe. So we're getting our first attack level here. These Tinsus, if you get hit by them, you actually lose 10 experience points. And each time we get hit by one of those bots, you lose a full bar of life there. You see how it's broken up in between different blocks for the health. So Palace 1, I'm playing a little bit safe here and using my beam sword optimally. Alright, so first thing I'm going to do is actually hit this wall here, and it actually makes this skull bubble spawn a little bit lower when I get to it so I can jump over it more easily. And then on this one, what I'm going to do is hit this wall. It offsets the screen a little bit, and it actually makes these skull bubbles spawn a little bit lower as well. So it's an easy pattern just to go through and with beam sword or without beam sword. So see, the bots are already trolling a little bit. So I lost my beam sword there. I'm going to skip all these levels.
I love how the bridge is collapsing over lava, and he's just like, let's grab that money, let's do it.
Yeah, there's lots of little things where it's like you don't really have much time to react in certain spots. And here's the candle. So you saw the caves that when I was on the way there, and like the magic cave, they're in the dark. The candle will actually light them up. This is actually the only category really that you will get the candle so early on, and you won't see like a dark death mountain or something. Went and did a little bit of fast rats there and just try to skip the bots. Alright, I'm gonna just jump into this block here, so this skull bubble will just not hit me later on. If I didn't jump into that block, I actually would have just, that skull bubble would have been in the bottom there with me. And I would have had to deal with it. Alright, so red jar number 1. Red jars will actually fill up your magic, but typically in the early parts of the run, you don't want the red jars. In the later parts of the run, you do want red jars. So we have one more chance for a 200p bag, and to try and get attack 4 out of Palace 1. Hopefully we don't get a what's called a red jar run. And you see me just doing those quick left button presses. Just it's basically like a manipulation so I don't get hit and I'm able to do a certain pattern to go through those enemies there. I was hoping that hit would just change the RNG and everything like that, but nope. So we have a red jar run, means we will not get attack 4 at Palace 1, so I'm going to be hoping for at least one more 200p bag a little bit later in the game. So this is Horsehead, the first boss. He's only able to be damaged if you hit him in the ears right there. But all right, so normally whenever you place these gems, it'll give you the experience to get to the next level. Whatever is next on your XP bar there, you see at the very top. So we're going to get attack 3 out of this. If I got one of the 200 P bags, I would be able to get attack 4. All right, and as you can see here, the caves are all now lit up, so everyone can see what's going on here. In other categories, you will actually either not pick up the candle or not pick it up until later, and you'll see Death Mountain completely in the dark, but we don't want that fairy encounter. So the normal overworld stuff, you can press up and left and you won't get an encounter, and they'll usually stick to a pattern. But fairy encounters are completely random, and of course every speedrunner hates RNG, so just add time to the run. Alright, so what I got here is the trophy, which will be used to get the jump spell to get to the next area. Alright, so you see there, just move over up and to the left, and most of the time those patterns will just move out of your way. So since I did not get attack 4 out of Palace 1, I'll actually only be taking 1 life level up during Death Mountain. I'm going to be trying to get attack 4 as quickly as possible, and then attack 5. This text you here can't skip on the old wizards to give you the spells. So with the jump spell, of course, you could jump very high. It's aptly named. Just gonna walk through this town, go into the next area. There's a whole bunch of different town folk here. This game, lots of people, especially when you play as a kid, you know, there's hints to every single location that's hidden and everything like that by talking to all the townsfolk. So it's very much like an RPG where you actually have to talk to everyone. So I'm going to take this life level up, and then we're going to get nothing but attack levels, hopefully, for quite a while. These gorillas, must have been put right there. Always remember to blame the controller. It's definitely the controller's fault. So there's lots of little things I'm doing with the combat and everything like that. Each time I get hits and get knocked backwards, I lose 1.5 seconds. So that overall encounter just not want to cooperate. I did a little bit of a manipulation there, but it just did not want to work. There's about a 10% chance, and again, that one did not want to cooperate either. Normally I'm going to get no encounters on the way to Bagu here. Alright, so there's our good friend Bagu. He lives in the forest. And now we know Bagu. And there's different forced encounter tiles that actually surround Bagu there, but there's a couple of set paths to actually go there. Missed that. Alright, so in this town we're actually going to get the life spell, which will help me very much in this run, because as you can see, you get hit a few times and your life starts going down pretty rapidly. So there's a mirror underneath this table, and we got the mirror. And this lady right here lost the mirror, so we're going to turn this in, talk to the old wizard of this town, and get the life spell.
So you got the mirror, so now you can come back from the dark world, right?
Dark World, that's too many bits. 16 bits. This is an 8-bit system. Multiple worlds, just. But yeah, there's actually no. Well, you get the recorder later, but it looks more like a plunger. So.
I'm glad to know I'm not the only one who think that looks like a plunger.
Let's see. No, everyone thinks it looks like a plunger, or I always call it a vuvuzela. That's what it kind of looks like. Alright, so I think I might have entered that door a little bit too early, but. So we met Bagu earlier, so now we know Bagu. So if you enter that door on like the first couple frames, you actually spawn on the right side when you're exiting it. If you go a little bit further, you'll actually spawn on the left side to save a few frames. But alright, so this is Death Mountain. It's aptly named. You can actually go to Palace 2 first before you do this, but hopefully we're gonna make it through here and not get hit too much. We're skipping all these levels here. And this room, yeah, so you end up getting hit. So this part right here usually take a lot of damage. You actually want to kill at least one enemy and that doesn't give a drop. So this orange dire will actually spawn. If you don't kill an enemy, there's 6 enemies there on the left-hand side, that orange dire will not spawn and not give you that 7 experience points. So it's definitely important that you want to do that. It's a sprite limit on that area. It's only 6, so. Alright, now lots of people would always die on this enemy coming up. It's the red Dyra. Throws axes there. He's throwing a quick axe. I'm just gonna wait for him to throw another one there. So a little bit of pressure here coming up. Blue Gorilla, beeping life. You know, hopefully I don't die. See, there we go. It's alright. Those Grease can actually throw 4 boomerangs, so. One of my beam sword there, but. Alright, so I got a red jar there, so I'll just go and cast life, so I have full life there. We're actually still hoping for a 200p bag, otherwise XP will be really tight. That's the main thing I'm worried about, that's sitting in my head. Then once we get out of Palace 2, as long as we get attack 6 coming out of Palace 2, we should be fine. There's another red die right here. We'll go ahead and bring out a little bit. Alright. A little bit of screen wrap there with the beams that you can do. Another red Dyra. So if you had attack 4, these red Dyras would only have 4 hits they would take. But instead they take 6, since I only have attack 3. And then the reason why I paused there is if you leave before the XP starts ticking, then you will actually not get the experience. You won't get the experience, and the enemy will respawn on the way back, which you do not want. So we're gonna attack 4 here. Still getting nothing but red jars. So So far we have what's called a red jar run. The longest people have ever gone on red jar runs are all the way up to Palace 5, about an hour into the run. So, so far we're on track for that horrible luck right there. So we just got the hammer that allows us to break large boulders and also cut down trees. Because that's the normal way to cut down trees, right? You just use a hammer. Pretty sure that's the way everyone does it. I'm gonna get this magic container here. Coming up. We're actually going to go in here and then go in this cave again to make sure there's no overworld encounters that spawn that could possibly add a whole bunch of time to the run. And I see lots of these rooms. I'm going through them using a specific pattern. Oh, bad time for a level up. So normally you would skip over these enemies here and just jump over them, but I'm actually going to kill them just so I have a little bit more experience here. Another red die right here. Do a little bit of double hits. More of the bubbles. See, I ended up taking a little bit of damage there with the bubble. So there's a one up here that I'm going to grab. Normally in a PB attempt and everything like that, won't grab those, but since I died in Death Mountain and grabbing the red jar luck and everything like that, I want to make sure to get that one up. So we're going to take an encounter on this very specific tile unless the overworld does not want to do it. So we're just going to take a few extra steps here. Hopefully get this pattern. There we go. And then we'll just walk straight up here to get the medicine jar because there's an old woman who has a sick child. You know, you just want to make sure you get the medicine from these enemies in this cave. Guarded by, of course, 3 Dairas. Okay, cast life here. Better safe than sorry. So normally you wouldn't want to cast life here, there and everything, but one of those axes would have been able to kill me from those red Dairas. Since we only have life 2, it does quite a bit of damage here. We'll get another one up here. Because we will be doing some death abuses here, save a little bit of time, and once we get a Palace 4, another fairy encounter, of course. Luckily that one didn't get... So each time you get an encounter on the road tiles or a fairy encounter, it's about 4 seconds added. If you get a normal encounter, again, it's like 10 to 12, but the fairies will mess up the overworld manipulations, especially coming up later in the run. So I'm actually going to have to refill my magic here by talking to the one of the NPCs in the game. And then come back here. And as you can see, the magic keeps on refilling even though I casted a few spells there. So this is where we get the almighty down stab ability. The down stab is very good in this game. You'll see it used multiple times. We'll just go ahead and mash down. It's the fastest way to kill any enemy in the game. So you'll see it also to skip enemies, so you can just bounce off their heads and everything. It's what we call the jackhammer, And then we're gonna get the medicine jar here. Have this later. I'm gonna get the fairy spell. So normally when you pick up the item, like you saw in the candle and the medicine jar and all that stuff, the hammer, Link does the normal thing where he picks up the item, holds it over his head. We'll be able to use this fairy spell to actually skip that whole animation and just basically cast fairy, pick it up, continue on our way. So it saves about 2 seconds for each time you pick up an item with fairy. So we'll be exiting this town. Hopefully not getting an encounter. We'll make this very specific walk into this cave, break the boulder, and get another heart container. And then we'll be making our walk through the swamp to Palace 2. $200p bag, good. That's the Inzar Red Jar streak, 24 minutes in the run. So in this walk to the swamp, you can have anywhere from 0 encounters all the way up to 4, and you walk slower on the swamp tiles. Already have a fairy. Alright, so I'm going to walk to this road and tile here. Get the encounter there. So basically we call those like half encounters. Hopefully, almost probably just, if I stepped on the swamp, I know it would just, I was just going to stay there. Okay. I'll get that one. So there's lots of times when you're speedrunning this game, the overworld will be the part that will make you lose a lot of time and everything. So in Palace 2, you saw me get a red jar from that statue. Palace 2, it's guaranteed red jar, 100% of the time. In other palaces, you'll see a 50-50 chance between a red jar and a red iron knuckle. I'll make our way through this room, not too fast, but so we're going to make our way up and visit all the keys. We're collecting all the keys that we'll use through the palace. Since this is the 100% all keys category, we'll not be ferrying through the doors. Otherwise, if you are running the other categories where you can ferry through doors, you can actually skip going down this elevator and just go straight to the left on the first one. Coming up in this palace, a few more rooms. We'll have the one of the first instances where bots will just knock you into lava and kill you. So lots of people always saying they're the true boss of this game. The skull bubbles there give 50 experience points, but they take forever to kill. So you see me using a down stab just to basically continue on without stopping to kill certain enemies or just bounce on the top of their heads. Normally, if I got a higher experience points that coming out of attack 1, I'd be able to skip most of these enemies, but I'm have to kill them. So this room right here, there's a dripper that spawns bots, but these bots right here will like to jump like that one did, and can knock you into lava. So luckily I had enough magic there to cast fairy to not die, but as you can see, it'll just like sit there and jump while you're jumping and everything like that. So I'm just gonna wait for these to make sure that doesn't happen again. there's lots of little things in this game where it's mostly reactionary, so you have to know the patterns and everything like that, when it can happen, and be able to quickly recover. Alright, so there's a red jar here we'll use to fill up our life. And we'll be getting the glove coming up. The power glove. We'll be able to use that to break blocks, which is these blocks falling from the ceiling right now, coming from out of nowhere. You can break those blocks with the glove if you have it. But since I don't have the glove yet, I'm not able to break them. So you actually can't have bad RNG in that room, which luckily we didn't get. They will actually just completely block you in, and you can't break them. So you'll actually have to cast Fairy to hopefully be able to get through. But there's the glove. And these drippers here, if their first drop coming out of it spawned a blue bot and I skipped over it, actually would have despawned the red iron knuckle. There's lots of little times which you see the block room just spawning a whole bunch of blocks on my head. Exactly why I didn't cast Fairy, so I can cast life there, in case I needed it. Alright, so we have these Moas here. They drop the little fire. If I had attack 5, I would have been able to kill that Moa. We'll go ahead and pick up Sword Jar. Life restores 3 blocks of health, so go ahead and take it. And the skull bubble, we actually paused a little bit, then go through. If you kept on walking and tried to downstab through it, you actually would have gotten hit. But there's lots of little things in this game where if you see me pause or go to the left or something like that, that's how I end up getting hit. But so I only need 1,950 experience points.
I don't know. Sometimes I get
Coming up to the boss, which I should be able to have easily. So I'll be able to skip a few of these enemies coming up. There's a red jar hidden down here that I'll go ahead and take.
This game is freaking brutal, man.
Let's go ahead and skip this red iron knuckle, and of course, let's throw out that sword. Keep up with me.
You got a second for a donation?
Yeah, you could read a donation real quick.
All right, we got $20 from Stephanie saying, "Greetings from Canada, first-time watcher, long-time donator. Do you know Bagu? Not like this. Pass me the shampoo, not like this." Thank you for the donation.
It's actually one of my good friends, Nee, so thank you, Nee. So we're just a few XP shorts. So it's going to be attack 7 run. So we'll just go ahead and keep on continuing going. Hopefully we don't get that many more encounters going to Palace 3, save a little bit of time. And of course we have bad encounter luck there. This is King's Tomb. It's actually right below here, so we're going to cast Fairy till so we have access to Palace 3, Island Palace coming up. I'm not going to worry about that red jar. See, it's got a red jar there for RNG. It's a little bit quicker to get that one. The drops. So we're just gonna try and get a magic 3 and then go for attack after this. So these blocks here, we hope one doesn't hit me in the head, which is nice that didn't. Just keep on walking to the right. Mo won't drop any fire on me. This music cooperated. And normally these gaps coming up right here, it's actually pretty tight jumps and everything. Lots of people end up casting the jump spell, but you actually don't need to. There's multiple ones that you'll see. Right here is another room where there's lots of bots, lots of lava pits. They can jump right at you and knock you into the lava. It's like this one right here. I'm going to wait for him to go a little bit further just to make sure I'm safe. Alright, here you see the jackhammer, which you just basically get inside their hitbox, especially the blue iron knuckles there, and just keep on spamming down as quickly as possible to be able to get as many hits in as quickly as possible on those blue iron knuckles to definitely just take care of them really quickly. Normally they are a pain when you're just doing like a normal casual playthrough if you're not doing that. And it's good 50-50 red jar. That red jar actually never drops. Figured we'd go ahead and check it, just see what happened. But we got the impossible red jar drop right there. Pick that. Alright, so coming up here is going to be the boss of Palace 3. The boss is DreamHack. You won't see in any other game. He floats on a mechanical horse, and hopefully the manipulation that I'll do is be in a very specific pixel and make him look easy, unless he doesn't want to cooperate. So what I'm going to do here is just walk into this battle and then line up my shield with a very specific line tile, which is right here. So hopefully I'll be able to just jump right over, go over to the left here, down stab on top of him, which he didn't want to cooperate. So we'll go ahead and fight him like this. And there we go. Making it a little bit easy. So as you see here, you'll see a lot of XP tick up. So I'll be able to get attack 6 coming out of Palace 3. And I'll get an encounter. Alright, and the next walk we'll take is actually using the raft across continents from the western continent to the eastern continent. The eastern continent is much more difficult than the western continent. This is the first big difficulty jump. And lots of the enemies, and also there's a lot more experience per enemy. Fairy encounter, of course. Alright, so this town, we will end up getting the fire spell, which you may see me use once, maybe twice. It's one of the spells that no one ever really uses. You don't even really need it, but this is the 100% all keys category. We'll go ahead and get it. So this woman is right here next to the fountain. All she wants is a little drink of water. She can't walk 12 steps to the left to get her own drink of water. So it's one of the laziest NPCs in video gaming history right there. And one of the NPCs will say, if all else fails, use fire. So here's the fire spell. There's certain enemies that will not be able to be damaged without using the fire spell, but all those enemies will end up skipping in this run. Except for the Tektites later, which I will probably use the fire spell on. So this is the only town really that you'll be exiting to the right. All the other towns you'll see me exiting to the left and everything like that, but it's actually a little bit faster to go to the right to exit this town, the way you entered it. Alright, so coming up here is the aptly named Green Mile is what a few of us runners call it. It's basically a long walk, which I'll do a few patterns over where we'll walk in a very specific way and hopefully not get fairy encounters. To not get any encounters on the walk back to and from here. So going to pick up a Lost Child here. In the Japanese version of the FDS, the Famicom Disk System, you actually have to stab all the items and everything to pick them up. Which means this child you would actually hit with your sword. So stab the child and everything, but they changed it so I can actually just pick them up in fairy form, skip the animation, or just pick them up. Alright, so next we're going to grab this another one up here. And they're going to do what's called the Dazzle. The runner Dazzle is the one that came up with this walk here. So we're going to wait for an encounter to spawn, go up on the left, then walk up to this grass tile and go up on the left, and then go over to this grass tile and go up into the left. And we're going to try and get these encounter skips here. Force tile, missed that one. Get that one. This one especially has bubbles in it, so no one likes bubbles. That kind of does not cooperate, so I'll get the next one to spawn. Good. Alright, so we'll just show you this encounter. So here we go, the bubbles, of course. easily knock you into the water, which is the same as lava. It's just blue lava. Link doesn't know how to swim. Gets the flippers in the next game. Alright, so coming up here is just a little casual glitch. We'll make Link change color here. So I'll go ahead and cast the spell, talk to this NPC. And we got a white, looks like a Smurf Link right there. Alright, so what you can do is actually, if you're holding down, you can do what's called the Fairy Claws glitch, which you can actually just fairy down the chimney. Otherwise, you'd want to cast the jump spell and do super jump, which is a pixel perfect trick to be able to actually jump up there. Normally, you can do that up to, I believe, 11 times and attempt super jump and still not end up losing time or by doing it the normal way, but the Fairy Claws is much easier and quicker and guaranteed. And actually, it's actually found out not too long ago. This game came out in 1987, and I mean, that Fairy Claws was just found 2 years ago. So it's another one of those speedruns where game's over 20 years old and they're still finding out new things.
Well, that's what's so great about speedrun.
Yeah, no matter how old the game or no matter anything, you're always finding out new things about the games. Speedrunners just completely tear them apart. So we'll get the reflect spell here. And lots of the other games, you'll have like mirror shields and everything that reflect different things towards enemies to kill them. But this reflect spell, it's just a harden your shield to make it like a mirror coating, basically. Of course, these encounters don't want to cooperate with me at all today. Let's go and walk through this one. Alright, so this is another area where we're going to try and not get any encounters, but we'll see. So I'll go ahead and pause on a few of these tiles here. Try and dodge the encounters, but that one did not want to cooperate, just keeps on heading down. So he's one of the enemies that can only be killed with fire. Tektites. That's that one. There we go. Alright, so I'm going to be what looks like the long path through this whole area, but it's actually the shortest one. There's lots of forced encounter tiles along different paths. Should only be taking 2. One has the magic jar in it, so it's a very short one. The other one will be having enemies in it. I'll go ahead and cast life since. Make sure I fill it up. And those dogs right there, those little enemies, are another one that you only cast fire to kill. So I'll just be taking a long path here, so I don't have to spend the 10 to 12 seconds for those encounters. And we'll come up to Palace 4, which this is where you'll see me take some death abuses here to save a little bit of time. Also, to refill my magic up a little bit. And these whiz robes in the Palace 4, the white robe characters, they can only be killed if you reflect their beams back to them. So that's one of the things that reflect is very useful for. Otherwise, you cannot damage them, cannot downstep and skip them. Let's jump here and make sure we get over this. You can actually make it over these blocks with the fire without casting jump, but it's a very perfect trick to be able to do. I'm just gonna take the. Needed more magic, anyways. I'll use the jackhammer here to quickly dispatch those blue iron knuckles. We got the boots there. That's the item of this palace. That allows us to walk in certain water tiles. So it gives us the ability to reach Palace 5, which you'll have to walk on water to get to. As well as get another heart container.
No matter what anybody says about this game, this music is awesome.
Yeah, almost all the Zelda games just have excellent music, and this is definitely no exception. You'll even hear the music from Zelda 2 in Smash Brothers as well. I believe it's this theme right here.
And this is also the easiest whiz robe in the entire Zelda series.
That's one of the hardest fights. What are you talking about? The boss of this palace, you'll end up seeing it's a very difficult boss. We'll see how it treats me.
Oh yeah, the boss is brutal.
The boss can end up killing me at the worst RNG, and there's basically nothing I can do about it really, but we'll have to see what happens. Of course, that bubble wanted to glitch out and follow me down there. Usually that never happens, but of course, since it is a marathon, I've never seen that happen, you know? But I have. Alright, this next room coming up, of course, I'll use the jump spell. This is, if you didn't use the jump spell as a kid, just keep on walking to the right whenever you play this game. This room will be pretty brutal just because the enemies spawn in it, but you just walk right through, you know, just press jump, go right over them. No problem at all. Those things won't knock you into lava that way. And I'll just go ahead and take a death abuse here. This actually saves a little bit of time. Because we need, since we only have magic 3, we actually need almost all of our magic to cast Reflect on the boss. Because that's the only way to kill the boss is to use Reflect. on experience. So I'm gonna. Okay, got the 200 bag. Super good. So we're going to cast Reflect here and Shield just to be safe since this is such a difficult boss. So what we're going to do is just sit over here in this right-hand corner.
All right,
So-
good luck.
How's everyone going? We're just going to sit here and do this boss here. It's going to take a while, maybe. Hope everyone's having a good day. Just going to hold down, you know. This boss can sometimes take a really long time, like it is now. There's actually the quickest way to kill this boss is actually this way. There's actually, it'll reflect back 8 in a row, and it's actually the quickest kill you can actually have there. So it's complete RNG whether or not that's going to work or not. You may be thinking, it's like, oh, we're speedrunners. There should be a way to do that and get like 8 reflect at the same exact time, but there's millions upon millions upon millions of combinations that he can actually do. So yeah, if you want to try that, normally you're going to die.
Well, GG.
Yeah, boss took a little bit longer than normal, but so we're gonna get attack 7 out of here. Normally we'd have attack 8, but I misleveled. It's no biggie. Still beat this game without game overing, hopefully. So there's actually a damage boost you could do here with instead of casting Fairy, but I'm not going to do it because it's very risky doing it. It could add a whole lot of time because I'll have to try and kill Mago for experience and everything. But Pro JN, great runner of this game, ended up coming and called it Eco Key because you can just cast Jump and actually damage boost off of one of these Skull Bubbles. It's a very precise timing that you have to do. Pro JN actually has the world record for this game right now in this category. He's a very good player. He's been playing since the 90s. And Simple Dude is another great runner. Shoutouts to both of them. But even there are times where they will end up missing the Eco Key there, so. So we got the blocks here that, of course, they want to be absolute trolls and spawn all the way and stack to the very top of the left. I need at least 2 to stack, hopefully 3, to grab this key, which has a very peculiar hitbox there. Of course, since this is a marathon, the game's not going to cooperate. It knows it's a marathon run.
Yeah, well, this is marathon luck. No surprise there.
And Palace 5 is actually the first palace where it's kind of maze-like, so if you don't know the path going through here, I'm taking lots of lefts and a few rights. But there's lots of dead ends in this palace, and including a spot coming up that there's an NPC in one of the towns that tells you you can walk through walls in some palaces, and there may be hidden paths. Well, coming up here, we're actually just going to jump straight into a wall. Just an illusion. The FDS Famicom Disk System version of this game actually has a second re-boss fight of Horsehead in their room instead of a blue Iron Knuckle, but they decided to take that out for this American version. gonna take a magic 4 here. All right, here's the flute. Like I said, it looks more like a plunger. The flute, the recorder. But we use that plunger to get rid of the River Devil coming up. As well as reveal Palace 6. Another use of the quick jackhammer maneuver. These Moggos will sometimes just spawn super aggressively and be in your path and everything like that. And they can really be a nuisance and take away a lot of your HP if they keep on spawning in different areas and throwing out their fireballs along with other enemies. Again, this game, I like to say it's the Dark Souls of the Zelda series for a reason, because of all the areas that can easily kill you. And if you game over in this game, you actually lose all your experience points, but you get to keep your levels. And you start at the very beginning starter palace and you have to walk all the way back. So that key I just got there, I ended up jumping up on the ledge, down stabbing it, hitting the wall, and not touching that ledge again. It's what we call the swag key. Saves a few frames, but we always joke around, you know, if you don't hit swag key, you lose 3 minutes. Even though it saves probably about like 3 frames.
So now that you mention it, I think you're the one who explained me why you start back at the Great Palace when you game over there, unlike the rest of the game, right? When you game over anywhere in the game, you start back at the beginning of the game.
Oh,
but
yeah.
The Great Palace, you start back at the Great Palace, and I think you're
Yeah.
the one who explained me why.
So basically, in the Famicom disk system, you actually have the A side and the B side. So it's actually different memory locations, and it's kept separate still. So in this version, since it's only on one cartridge, it's actually the game over system is still kept from that way. So instead of having to flip the disc every time you game over in Great Palace, they just kept it in the same memory block, the same memory location, which they still did in this American version. So normally anywhere besides Great Palace, if you game over, you'd start at the very beginning. If you game over in Great Palace, though, of course, you'd be able to start right at the beginning of Great Palace. So, but getting to Great Palace is another challenge in itself, going through a Valley of Death and a whole lot of area and stuff like that. So if you game over before that, it ends up being a long walk back.
Yeah, just getting to the Great Palace is a challenge in itself. And we're not even talking about going across it.
Yeah, you'll see after I beat Palace 6, the trek I have to take to, it's called Valley of Death. And it's not even, that's not what the speedrunners nickname, but that's actually what it's actually called, so. I'm actually going to cast Life here. And in my opinion, this is the hardest boss, the actual hardest boss, not like the last one. So, he hits very hard. And this boss is actually not in the FDS version. It was actually added to the American version. So we're going to cast Shield here and hopefully not have to cast Life, but this is Boss Guma. Has a big mace he throws. We're just going to jump over it, hopefully not take any damage. Make it look easy. Of course, he's not going to cooperate there. It lasted.
You still made it look easy.
A little bit, you know. This whole game, if you're playing it casually, if you've never played it before, this game is very hard. I may be looking at making it look a little bit easy and stuff like that, but so one of the ways to actually soft lock in this game is to get a level up screen on the same frame you're actually exiting the screen. So I'm actually just going to use the huge amount of XP I have to get more magic levels and more life levels. I was going to continue on with attack 7. but if you exit the very same frame as you get a level up, you actually just completely soft lock the game. So I messed up that walk there, so we're going to do a backup strat here. So if you duck into this cave, blow the whistle, hopefully the encounters cooperate. I missed it. So these are forced encounters that hopefully you want to skip, but since I missed it and just went a little bit late, I'm not even going to bother trying to respawn it. So we're just going to actually ferry through these two. We're going to take a few hits and everything like that, but we're going to get a life heal coming up. Just going to save Fairy Castle this one, and then Fairy a Tektite Cave. So we're actually skipping the life level up and magic level coming up. Because we're actually going to end up getting Magic 7, and then have the experience points. We need to get Magic 8 on our trek to Great Palace. So instead of having to deal with these Tektites, I'm just going to ferry over them. Alright, and this is a town where we'll be doing lots of walking. It's hidden. We're just going to use the hammer, of course, to chop down the trees. We're just going to get the spell, get a magic container, as well as the magic key, which allows us to unlock every door. Alright, so the spell is actually named Spell. It's spelled S-P-E-L-L. So this old man is going to teach us the magic. You just remember the magic word, which is spell. Anyone, I'm sure, could have guessed that. That has two uses. One, it'll actually turn a good number of enemies into bots, of course, which is one of the worst enemies to turn it into because they will knock you into lava and everything like that and completely troll you. But this is the other use of spell. It erects this giant building here. And we'll go ahead and use this to get the magic key, which unlocks all the doors. And we're just going to walk all the way back to the first screen and talk the woman to get the last magic container in the game. And then we're going to make our way to the last heart container in the game. And on to Palace 6. Alright, and here's the walk to the last heart container. We're going to go back through this cave. And we're going to try and not get any encounters on our way to the heart container. Got a nice lucky backspawn there. Let's hoping to go to the right to not have the encounter touch this tile, but got the hard container here. And then there's an NPC that hints if you blow the flute in between 3 mountains here, that a palace will appear. So we go and do that. And a fun little fact, if you actually blow the flute on the exact frame that you actually walk into that tile, that palace will not spawn. Then you have to blow it again. Waste a little bit of time there, but... Alright, so we're going to do hopefully a damage boost as long as this blue iron knuckle cooperates. And it does. So it's a nice little damage boost that we could just do to easily make it over that jump using that blue iron knuckle sword.
Do we have time for a donation?
Sure.
All right, so ET Won't From Home gave us $2.78, and he asked me to insert a random meme of my choice. So I'm gonna say that he made the $4, $5, $6, $7, $8. Thank you. Must be show me the way. Oh, I forgot to read the last bit. Well, thank you, ET.
It's a great number to be. Very sequential. So there's actually a gap right there that we're jumping over. We actually call it the Canadian hole. It is named because of the Canadians who actually kept falling down it. They're the ones that named it. So there's a few Canadian runners that would just keep on falling down there. Some of the maps we have of all the palaces and stuff like that, we actually put the Canadian flag on there. So shout outs to Canada. And of course, NoReset for hosting this marathon. They are from Canada, so shout outs to them as well. Alright, so we're getting the cross here. The cross will allow us to see some invisible enemies, which is blue moas and purple moas. So you'll see those coming up. If we didn't have that cross, we would not be able to see them at all. We're hoping for a red jar there, but didn't get it. So I'm going to jump back over. Barely made that jump. This palace is very tight on the magic usage and everything like that, so I'm going to be using all of my magic that I have. Of course, these whiz ropes want to cooperate as well. Alright, we're going to see if we can get a ceiling walk here. Maybe? Yep, there we go. So you actually just want to, when you're transitioning on the screen, barely be touching the wall there. So it's a very hard trick to pull off, but I end up getting it. I'm going to kill both these horse heads here. Got a blue jar, nice. Does a good little bit of safety. We're a little bit of low life here, which I don't necessarily like, but it's okay. So this spot here, you actually have to cast Fairy to cross it. And then if you touch any of the skull bubbles, if I didn't get that blue jar, if I just touched the skull bubble for a very small amount of time, I actually would not have had enough magic to be able to cast jump on the boss Barba. So that's how tight it is. Basically, if you get hit by any of the skull bubbles or lose any magic, you would not have any to do that. And you'd have to actually do what's called the jumpless jackhammer on the boss, which is very hard to do, and most people will use a sound cue for it. Another use of fairy to get the boss. Normally you would just like pass this room casually. It's like, wait, what just happened? And then you fall straight through, but you actually need to cast fairy to get through there. And what we're going to do is go all the way to the right without stopping. So we that's actually manipulation to make sure the boss spawns there on the right-hand side. I messed up there a little bit. You can actually one-cycle that boss, but since I have attack 7, it's very hard to do anyways. So we got 2-cycle. All right, and that's Pal 6. All right, so we're gonna make our way across this bridge. We're actually just gonna cast Fairy because we're gonna get a free magic level up here. We're just gonna refill our magic. And then we're gonna need the rest of our XP there to hopefully get magic 8 by the time we reach Thunderbird and the Great Palace. So this is the last spell you get in the game. It's Thunder. Its main usage is so you can beat the game and actually beat Thunderbird. Thunderbird shoots fire, but his weakness is thunder. Alright, and this purple Moa is one of the ones that you would not be able to see unless you had that cross. We're gonna try and make our way over this bridge. Out getting hits. Alright, we have another encounter skips. All these encounters in the Valley are definitely one to skip no matter what. These we have to take. I'm going to actually kill these Moas just for safety and a little bit extra XP. That one hit me. So there's a forced encounter tile here. We're actually just going to get a normal encounter and make our way through. I need a little bit more experience than normal. I'm just going to go ahead and kill them. You can actually use your beam sword and go straight through. But it is very dangerous because if you don't time it exactly right, you'll just fall into the lava, of course. There's lots of lava bats that you take in this game. And lots of enemies that'll easily knock you into them. We end up getting the counter. Using the upstab ability here. And there you see a little bit of a wonky hitbox. I ended up hitting it with upstab, but it still ended up hitting me. So some of the hitboxes are a little bit weird. So this Scorpion here, we call Scorpion Max. Shoutouts to Scorpion Max, another runner of Zelda 2. He didn't want to cooperate there and went and shot a fireball. Go to cast life here. All right, here we go. The last palace of the game. Great Palace. So how many lives do I have? 2? We'll go ahead and show you guys the alternate route through Great Palace here. There's actually 2 ways to go through it. So I'm going to show you guys the alternate way that requires a damage boost to... Like what I did in Palace 6 is basically walk on top of a wall there. But since I have a couple extra lives and everything like that, I'll go ahead and show that off for you guys. So normally the normal path you'd end up taking a right there, but we're going to go ahead and take a left. I'm going to use fire here. Kill these enemies. But I actually liked a blue jar there, just have a little bit of magic there, but it's alright. So this route is actually, if you perform it perfectly, 2 seconds faster, but no one ever uses this route because doing it perfectly is very, very difficult. I'm one of the few runners that actually will do it and just show it off and everything like that. So figured it's a marathon setting. I know how to do it, so might as well. We have the king bot that'll drop down from the ceiling here. We're just going to upstab it. That one wanted to hit me as well, but I'm going to upstab it. The bots in this palace take a lot more hits. As well as the bird knights there. Will be quite difficult. So I'm actually going to kill these here. Yeah, so we want to just a blue jar drop here so we can cast the jump spell. Since we are so low of life, we're going to try and take it... Ooh, okay, I was going to say we're going to try and do it a little bit easier, but... beeping here, but that's alright, because we need to end up taking a death abuse so we can cast fairy here. Unless I get a red jar drop here. No, I ended up getting it. So we'll go and cast fairy. Cast life. Go through here. Alright, so what we're going to try and do here is a very specific either downstab or damage boost, one of the two. Either way will work. We're going to try and manipulate these horse heads from floating up in a very specific way to do this. I missed it there. Missed it there. I almost got it. Say I'm so low of life, I need to try and downstab boost onto. We end up dying. That's fine. We needed our magic there anyways. Luckily, I have a little bit of extra time in the estimate to make sure I can try this a few times. There we go. Normally I'm able to do that within 3 tries, but you know, since it's marathon, all that pressure's on me. But we're fine. Just gonna get a little bit more experience here. But since we have the extra life here, I wouldn't have done it if I didn't have the extra lives and everything like that, because we do need the extra magic and everything for Thunderbird. Shoot. We're going to get Thunderbird in this very specific pattern here. Make it easy to do. All right, and the final boss of the game coming up right here. It's Thunderbird. Get our finally magic level up here. Going to use fire strats here on Shadow Link. Final boss of the game. The Thunderbird there is like the penultimate boss. So here we go. This might have been a difficult boss if you're playing it casually. Unless you knew a little bit of trick, just going right over to the left and I crouch in, but it's actually a very specific pattern which I'll try and do here. Which all right, and that's time. So that's Zelda 2 for you. Got the Triforce number 3 to wake up the sleeping Zelda. Hope you all enjoy the run. Up next we have Lauren07, which is right here for Ocarina of Time. No item manipulation, wrong warp. So definitely check that out and everything like that. Thank you all. And make sure you donate to the stream and everything like it. We're raising some money for Child's Play. So thank you.
All right, everyone, let's hear it one more time for John Wayne. Thanks, John, for the run. It was a pleasure having you with us. And we're just going to get ready, and we're going to continue with Lauren, and she's going to be running The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time on N64 using the Wii Virtual Console. No item manipulation or wrong warp, so you'll actually get to see the game being played. So stick around, we'll be right back.